Hello, lovely people. Welcome to another edition. Growing up, the first English word I learned was made in China, and I didn't understand why. And in 2018, I had the privilege to come to China, and I understood why most things were made in China. Join with us is our special guest, Michael. He is an expert in importation from China, and today he's come to teach us all the basics, all the information we need to know if we want to import from China ourselves without using an agent. Welcome, Mr. Michael. He is also from Borderless-commerce. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Thank you so much for hosting me on your platform. It is a privilege. Just note that there's a lot to go over this topic. So I'm going to be focusing more so on first timers, people that are just
Yes,
starting out, because there's different
yes,
levels and different,
yes.
different budgets, different methods to do that.
Oh, wow, interesting. When we talk about borderless commerce, what is it all about?
Oh, it was a company I established in 2021 for a while. Like you've been in China since 2018. Me too,
Yeah.
actually. And
Oh,
I realized there's a gap between people that wanted to buy directly from the source and being
yes,
able to, because you reach a lot of obstacles, especially with the language barrier. I'm not sure if you
yes.
speak any Chinese, but that's a big language
Yeah,
barrier because a lot of
yeah,
Chinese suppliers don't speak English.
yes.
And the payment method is the worst. That's probably the biggest headache that people have.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. So borderless commerce help to solve all these challenges, right?
Yeah, if someone doesn't want to deal with any payment methods, getting a passport, speaking any Chinese, negotiating with suppliers, then that is a platform that they can leverage.
Wow, interesting. For me, back in Ghana, I'm from Ghana. Back in Ghana, I knew Chinese products to be fake. Why or how, what would you recommend for, and why must somebody even buy Chinese products?
I'm not saying there's no fake products here. There are still fake products here, but there's some things that you can learn from experience to avoid getting fake products. So if you're trying to buy an iPhone, just an example,
Yes,
and the
yes,
price is half price, and they don't agree to do like a live stream with you or like a live video with the warehouse,
yes,
you can assume it's fake. And a lot of people fall for this because it looks real on the outside, but then when you turn it on, it's like Android. and
yes,
and just if it's too good to be true for the price, then I
yes,
wouldn't go for it. And when you're shipping products like iPhones, there's a chance that it can get seized at customs if you're not a certified reseller. So it's just something to be
yes,
careful of. How to
yes,
prevent the scams, though, or how to prevent the fakes, is having a freight forwarder or an
yes,
agent, a shipping agent, that can at least
yes,
check your products. Depending on the products you're buying and the amount.
yes.
So if you're buying like thousands of products or just like a couple, I would recommend different strategies. If you're buying a
But
couple, just
yes,
have like a freight forwarder open the box and just turn it on and be like, yeah, it's real. If you're
yeah.
buying 1,000, I would recommend having a professional inspection company to see, okay, all
Okay.
these products are legit and they're all real and certified and they all have the certifications and the serial numbers are all correct. Then I would do that.
Wow. Interesting. What are some of the basic information somebody who is a beginner and wants to import from China themselves without traveling to China must know?
If you're not coming to China,
Yes.
you want to do this 100% yourself, which is totally possible, and you can do it without spending any money
Wow.
if you're smart with it. I recommend that you get a passport. That's the absolute first thing you need to do. Without a passport, you won't be able to do any of this without going into like black market methods and very sketchy methods. So you
Yeah.
need a passport. With the passport, you can open an Alipay account if you have a phone number. I think you can confirm for me. I think you can sign up with a Ghana phone number on
Yes.
Alipay, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So have a phone number and a passport. When you set those up, then you can open up an account called a tour card
Yeah.
And this tour card, maybe I can show it here. I will show you on my phone.
All right.
Okay, so this is the Alipay. Like you can see my phone, right? This
Yeah.
is Alipay. So I just select tour card.
Yeah. Wow.
And then apply for this account here. So you just follow the steps here,
Yeah.
make an account, and this makes a Chinese bank account for you. Now, it's not 100% a full Chinese bank
Yeah.
account. There are limitations, but at
Yes.
least you can top up Chinese yuan with your foreign bank card, or if you're from Ghana, your Visa, MasterCard from Ghana, you can top
Yes.
up here if you're just getting started. Why do I
Oh,
mention this? It's because if you do it with Alipay,
yeah.
then you can connect your Alipay to Taobao and 168. The limitation is, though, you can't
Yeah.
do more than 10,000 RMB for a 3-month period. Every 3 months,
Oh,
that's the limit. So if you're just getting started, you need a
yes.
passport because they're going to ask you for your passport information here. And then
Yes.
with the passport information, you can top up and have Chinese yuan. That would be the first step that I would do.
Okay.
Because without that set up, don't even think about it. The second step, and I mentioned
Yes.
without spending any money, you spend zero money. You find a
Yeah.
friend or family member and you find a product that you think is attractive to them. And you say, hey, do you want to buy this product? Like, I'm trying this business model out. That's what I'm saying. Someone you know. Don't do it to a stranger. Do someone you know, because they're not going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, you're a scammer. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then sell them the product. Be like, okay, here's a product. I saw that you need like new wireless headphones or whatever the product is. Find
Yes.
it on 168 and Taobao and have them pay you first because you're testing it. Why do I mention this? Because you want to test the whole process. What I see too many people do is that they make too
Yes.
much upfront investment without testing the market.
Oh, wow.
So when they actually test the logistics process, they're like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought. The shipping is a lot more expensive than I thought it would be. So
Wow.
these Taobao and 168 suppliers, they don't ship overseas. Very rarely do they do, but very
Yes.
rare. So once you have that customer already, your friend,
Yes.
actually go through the process of buying a product. So once you have the tour card, let me just go through a simple example.
Yeah.
I'm going to open 168.
Wow. You mentioned, first of all, they have to know that they have a place to sell, how to sell the product.
Yeah,
Interesting.
they should have the customer first. They should have the
Yeah.
customer first. And this customer
That's,
should be someone they know, not a
yeah.
stranger.
Yeah. Interesting. And you mentioned 1688 Taobao. What are those? If,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
all I'm going to show right now. So once you
Okay.
have the tour card,
Yes.
one moment. Give me one moment. I'm setting it up.
Interesting. I love the fact that you share your screen to show people the real things. Wow, I love it. This makes
Yeah.
you
So,
professional.
okay, you see my screen. So
Yes.
these are a lot of sourcing platforms here. Okay, in China, you
Yeah.
must download these if you're going to
Okay.
even source from China. So you can
Yes.
see it's 168 Taobao, Xianyu. Xianyu is like eBay. It's a secondhand
Okay.
platform. You can find really good deals there. You can find really
Oh,
good deals. And then the rest are other sourcing platforms. So on
yes.
168, to make an account, you need an Alipay account, right?
Yes.
As I mentioned. So you already created the Alipay tour card. You should have already done that. I told you that's your first step, the Alipay.
Yes.
Then you can just look for products. So here, this is random products, but I'm trying to see if I can pick like
Yeah.
see a good one.
Interesting. Yeah,
So
like
here I'm
this.
at the products. I'm just picking random dolls, right?
All right. All right. Sure.
So this is just random products. So I want to add the product.
Yes.
And then before I actually make the purchase, you find the customer for this locally. So next you
Wow.
just go to continue, and then
Yes.
you go with the transaction process. Like you finish it, and you pay with the Alipay tour card. But that's
Yeah.
the payment and the product parts. The
Yes.
other part is the shipping. And I'm sure you have contacts for this, but If you're shipping
Yes.
specifically to Ghana, you need a
Yeah.
shipping partner. So the flow is I buy the product, the supplier sends it to the shipping company, the shipping
Yes.
company sends it to you or to your customer. That's the
Yes.
flow. You need to have all those pieces for this to work. So when you find a product for your friend and they pay
Yes.
you, test it. You need to ship it to the shipping agent. The shipping
Yeah.
agent needs to ship it to the customer. If you don't know that process well, you're going to have big trouble. Big trouble when it
Oh.
comes to real customers, like strangers, because they're going to
Yeah.
complain. They're going to ask for refunds. They're going to be like, "Oh, I thought it was 7
Oh yeah.
days, but it's been 14 days." So those are my recommendations.
Oh wow. I now understand why you mentioned we should get a relative, somebody who will understand you in case of any challenge. Wow, interesting. Yeah, now we can continue.
Yeah. So the shipping part is also important. So once you get a couple orders in with some people like you
Yes.
you probably know 5 people that will help you out.
Yes.
That's realistic. Like a sibling, a parents, friends.
Yeah.
Then the next step would be if you see that they like the product and it's something they want, then you
Yes.
ask them to ask their friends. Now you kind of strangers, like mutual friends, like you ask them to ask someone, and then
Yes.
you go through the process just so you know how to do the service with strangers.
Yeah.
Notice that I don't have a website. I never created a website yet.
Yeah.
Yet. You have to go test it. I'm always about testing.
Yes.
Before borderless commerce, I had a WhatsApp group with a bunch of
Okay.
potential people that needed the service. Even my mom was in it. Just to give you a scenario. It's just like, hey, is
Yeah.
this something you need?
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
eventually I proved the concept, and then I made the website. But I didn't do
Wow.
that at first. I don't recommend
Yeah.
making the website at first.
Interesting. Wow. So yeah, so they have to get an agent. Is there difference in buying products to different countries?
So I'm assuming your audience is from Ghana, but let's say you want to sell to the US and you're from Ghana.
Yes.
It's definitely possible to do that, but it's more difficult, especially if you don't know anyone there,
Yeah.
if you're not a citizen, because being a citizen, you can easily open a US bank account and
Yeah.
have a US address. But there are
Yeah.
ways to do that. I would suggest starting with a market that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And usually that's where you live because you know the people there better. You can
Exactly.
expand. You can expand. I'm not saying you can't expand. You can, but you need
Yeah.
to have the logistics set up. So I can share a couple examples of some of my
Yeah.
customers that what they've done. So
All
some of my
right.
customers started in Middle East and they figured out that this product was quite trending. So then
Yeah.
they opened a company in the US, which you can do. You just got to pay. The budget's a little higher. If you're not a citizen, you need to pay a little bit
Yeah.
more. And through that US company, they were
Yeah.
able to set up a shop in the US and sell their products on the US, either on Amazon or do their own Shopify store. It's
Yeah.
possible, but it takes more budget and time if you don't know the market.
Yeah. How about others in like US and they want to buy from China? They want to citizens from other countries who want to import to that country. Is there difference, some things they have to consider as compared to somebody from Ghana, from India, from US? Yeah.
You mean if I'm in the US and I want to sell products in the US from China?
Yes.
Well, I would recommend you learn more about your import taxes. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
learn this until you go through the process. That's why I mentioned earlier, go through some 5 friends or family and go through the process of the
Yeah.
product going from China to your home country, going through customs and getting to the final customer. A lot of people don't know how to do that. And like let's say in Europe, if you want to ship in Europe, you need to
Yeah.
have an IOSS number, which is like a import export ID number. And when
Yeah.
the product gets in Europe, there's a VAT, value added tax, that you need to pay. If you don't
Yeah.
account for those taxes in
Yeah.
your bottom line price that you give to the customer, like the end customer price, you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
You're going to lose money. So understand the tax laws. If you're
Yes.
selling electronics that are over like $500, they're going to get taxed more than if you're selling like a widget that's worth like $5. Just take that into account and do the calculation with a couple orders so that
Yeah.
you might lose money in your first couple orders, but at least you know, okay, I need to place the price here if I want to make this much money. You will know
Yeah.
that instead of doing it with a complete stranger and it becomes complicated. They're going to yell at you because they're like, I give you my money, but you lie to me about the service and it takes too long.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sorry for interrupting. You can end the process, then I'll ask the next question.
No, it's okay. So if you
Yeah.
want to level up, like let's say you've already gotten some customers, then you can
Yeah.
consider making a front end website. And very important here, if you want to automate, automation is not 100% automated. It takes time. And I don't think, in my opinion, it's ever 100% automated, but you can get close
Yeah.
where you can work with a fulfillment center in your country. It depends on your country's status. I
Yeah.
know the US has plenty of fulfillment centers, China has, where this fulfillment center will link to your store. It will link to your WooCommerce,
Yeah.
Shopify, all these stores directly. So when your store has an order, it
Yeah.
will go to their back end and it will process the shipment. And then the supplier will send the goods to the warehouse. And then the warehouse will automatically send it to the customer. Or you buy inventory and store it in the warehouse. So after you tested the market, let's say you buy 100 because you've tested it works and there's a need for
Yeah.
it. You send these 100 in bulk to your warehouse in Ghana or the US or wherever.
Yeah.
And then they pick and pack it to sort it so that they can be shipped to the end customer. Then when you get an
Yes.
order, they just get the address and they ship the goods. This saves you a lot more on profits because
Oh,
you bought
wow.
in bulk and you shipped in bulk. So you're going
Yeah.
to be saving a lot more when it comes to shipping and the cost of the product because you can negotiate the cost of the product if you're buying 100 or more.
Yeah.
But that is advanced level. If you're just starting, don't even think about that. Get your first sale with your friend or
Yeah.
family.
Wow. Interesting. I don't know if I can ask my next question, or you still have something to say with the basics information they have to know.
Now go for it. Go for it. It's okay.
Oh yeah. I What is it about made in products made for Americans, products made for Europeans, products made for Africans?
What is it for what?
What is it about in Chinese suppliers? They have products made for Americans, products made for Europeans, products made for Africans. What is it about, and what is the difference?
Okay, what is the difference?
Yeah.
There's a lot, but let me give you some simple examples.
Yeah.
In certain markets, you require certain certifications. So
Okay.
if you want to sell like food products, you need to
Yes.
go through a certification in the US before you can sell it legally, right? So you can try and find friends or family to like sell it just willy-nilly, just to give it to them. But if you're
Yeah.
scaling and actually establishing a business, you need to have that certification. So a simple example is that like an electronic device in China
Yes.
can be sold in China with a certification called Triple C.
Okay.
But if you want to sell that same product in, let's say, Europe, you're going to
Yeah.
need a CE certification. And you need to verify with a supplier if they have that certification. And if not, if they're willing to take the investment to have that certification.
Wow.
And it's also
Interesting.
the tastes of the market. Maybe something that's good for the US market is not good
Yeah.
for the European market. Another simple example is McDonald's. Have you
Okay.
ever been to McDonald's outside of your country? You will notice that they localize some of the products. So in the McDonald's in, let's say, China, they have like an egg
Yeah.
tart dessert. They don't really have that in other McDonald's except for China. But if you
Yeah.
go to like a McDonald's in Japan, they might have like a rice roll. They
Yeah.
localize it a little bit so that it matches what the market wants there. So that's also another difference. So there's certifications and localization. They both have to take into consideration.
Yeah. Interesting. So, does it mean that there's difference in qualities?
Maybe. And that's because of the certifications.
Yeah.
Uh, so let's say if you want to get through the CE, you need to go through stress testing. You need to make sure that it's not dangerous to the customer. Like if you're
Yeah.
buying an e-bike, the electronics and the
Yeah.
battery needs to go to certification. There's I don't want to go into too much detail, but if you're
Yeah. Yeah.
dealing with
Maintenance.
lithium batteries, you need a detailed report about how that lithium battery is safe. It's called an MSDS, like a hazardous material,
Yeah.
and how it's been tested to be used for the public. Like a child can use it, a adult can use it without getting shocked. So that is, in sense, better quality because you can make sure that it's not going to kill you or it's not going to
Yeah.
hurt you because they've gone through the certifications that they needed
Yeah.
to sell to that market. So it depends. It depends. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. I didn't even know that. So, will you advise somebody to get a visa and come to China and source for suppliers, or they should stay in their home country?
Start in your home country. Well, like I just mentioned, you can start with that tour card.
Yeah.
Get an idea of how these suppliers work, test the market. Once you have a proof of concept, once you have a front end store, once you have
Yeah.
some sales, then come here. Then come here. Why do I mention that?
Yeah.
With 10,000 R&B limit, you can get started with a lot of stuff for
Yeah.
your business idea. But after you scale and you need more than that, you can come here with the intent to do business,
Yeah.
preferably with a business card, a website, and some sales. And you can go to a fair. There was a fair in Guangzhou like 2 weeks ago. I actually went to it. You'll see a video about it on my channel like
Yeah.
today. It's publishing today. But
Yeah.
the point is, you can open a Chinese bank account and then you can negotiate directly with a supplier you're already working with because the
Yes.
168 suppliers, they have a price on 168, but that price is also high. I know it doesn't look like it's high, but for them to register on 168, they need to pay a lot of
Yeah.
money. They need to pay
Okay.
like $15,000 just to be registered and be able to sell goods.
Dollars.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Especially if they want to use the platform like Alibaba and all that. It's quite a lot. That's
Wow.
why you can get better pricing if you directly communicate with a supplier face to face.
Like,
Like, but you won't be using the platform at that time. But that's
yeah.
only if you tested the supplier, you know they're legit. Like, don't do that for the first time. Use the platform for the first time. So you
Yeah.
come to China, negotiate with a supplier, open a bank account, and then you have a method to pay them directly and to
Yes.
negotiate better pricing. But that's only after you're wanting to scale. Don't do it in the beginning. In the beginning, you're just starting. You don't need to come here. You don't need to invest that much money to come here and go further into it. Now, if you've tested something,
Yes.
and let's say it's a standard product, like it's just something that anyone can buy, but you
Yeah.
want to customize it. You want to like maybe tweak some of the technology, some of the items inside the machine so that it matches your market or your need.
Yeah.
That's another scenario where you should come because then you can work with them in a project with their R&D, their research and development, and kind of come up with a prototype for what you want to do. Only after you tested the market. Don't do this. Don't do this huge investment of this grandiose idea and this
Yeah.
customization before you tested it. I had a friend of mine, he's a colleague of mine. He spent like $20,000 and he still
Oh.
hasn't launched. He's still thinking about the best design for this specific product, and I'm not going to say it on here because it's
Yeah.
confidential. But I'm like, bro, you didn't even test the market yet, so
Wow.
don't come here until you tested it. You want to do customization, or you want to scale up and open a bank account and work directly with a supplier.
Wow. Interesting. Why must somebody even think of coming to China when they have people like you who are in China, who is also an expert? And besides, without you know so many things. So why must they come to China when they have people like you?
Well, yeah, I speak, read the language, so I definitely help with the language barrier, and Like if people don't want to waste their time learning the language, learn how the supplier works, then yeah, you should just stay with an agent the whole time.
Yeah.
But if for some reason they've scaled to a significant level, like let's just say
Yeah.
like Walmart, Walmart, if
Yeah.
they scale to that level, that's when they usually want to come and cut costs drastically. So
Yeah.
that's sometimes the point where they talk directly to the supplier. But some issues they're still going to face is doing payments to the supplier. But I mean, there's methods to overcome that. So if you are super comfortable with your business, you've already scaled to a level,
Yeah.
then that's maybe some point that you just want to increase your profits. You go directly to supplier. But if problems happen and you're not physically in China, good luck. It becomes difficult, especially if there's scams involved. It becomes very difficult to solve.
Yeah. Wow. You are an expert in this importation business. What has been some of the biggest challenges of beginners who start importing from China?
Payment. So in China,
Yeah.
the quickest way to get business started is to pay them in Chinese yuan. Some people want to pay them in dollars or other
Yeah.
currencies, but in order to accept that money in China, they need to go through a huge process with the bank to get the money in their account. So by the
Yeah.
time you pay them, and by the time the money actually hits their account, could be like a week or 2 weeks, and that's just not acceptable for suppliers. So get your Alipay Tour card and get the payment settled first. That's the biggest obstacle, in my opinion.
Wow. Interesting. And how about scams? There are several instances where people who try to start using online these e-commerce apps get scammed and so many things. How can they avoid being scammed?
As I mentioned before, if it's too good to be true with the iPhone price, it's too good to be true. Always keep the transaction on the platform.
Okay.
So let's see if I can, right here. So I'm on 168 here, right? Always
Yes.
pay here for your first time
Okay.
because you can fight the case if you can prove it. Now, you're going to need no Chinese. There is a
Yes.
way to overcome this. Maybe, let me see. Maybe if you let me go full screen.
Oh, sure. I don't know if you can do that from that side.
I can do it
You
from
can.
my side, but
Oh,
just
yeah.
have me go full screen.
Okay. Let me.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so there. Can you see my screen? Yeah. So there's a way to get refunds. So I'll just show you some of my transactions. Um, Here, this is refunds. So if you don't know, if you don't know how to read or write Chinese, it gets complicated, right? There are ways to translate it, but it gets a little complicated. But here are, the refunds that I had to go through, and some of these were scams, some of these were just suppliers that were just lazy. But if you don't do the transaction on the platform, there's impossible for you to get a refund. If you pay them directly on Alipay or on WeChat Pay, it's impossible. So keep the transactions on the platform so that you can get the refund back and fight it. That's one thing I would mention. Another thing is
Yeah.
have a shipping agent or some kind of an agent to physically check the product. Like if you buy
Yeah.
clothes or shoes, just say open it and say, okay, I see 10 pairs of shoes here, the right colors. Okay.
Yes.
And that would help, because what you don't want is if you go too cheap on the shipping. I don't recommend this. Some people just buy the product in 1688, send it to
Yeah.
their agent. The agent does not do the opening. They just get the product and ship it. And then
Yeah.
when you get it in your home country or wherever you got the product,
Yeah.
it's completely wrong. Like, you're like, hey, this is not what I ordered. But it's already left China. You cannot get a refund unless you ship it back to China. And when you ship it back to China, it costs more.
Yeah.
And you need to pay taxes on the product that gets into China. It's impossible to get. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. And most of the time, it's not economically worth it.
Wow. So that is avoiding scam. Apart from payment avoidance scam, what other challenge do they have?
The communication. So if communication is quite a large scope, it can mean a lot. So
Yeah.
simply speaking, one is direct communication, the language barrier. So if they want to use like Google Translate, there's a tool I use. Let me see if I can put it up here, called Microsoft Swift Keyboard.
Yeah.
Let me see. Boom. Yeah, I'll show it. So here, if I want to
Yeah.
type something in Chinese, you can see hello, right? I type in hello in English. How are you? And it automatically translated on top. You see it? Right? So it's called Microsoft Swift Keyboard that you can install it on Android or iOS. And it helps you break that barrier. But it's annoying. It's annoying. So it's not just the language communication problem, it's also mindset. The
Yeah.
way these suppliers are on 168, you're talking to the factory directly. They have many orders they deal with.
Yeah.
And if you ask for too many requirements for just one or two products or for a sample, they're going to be like, go away. I'm not going to help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and just knowing that, knowing how to convince them to help you is a good skill to have. That's why I mentioned don't come here unless you have a website and orders that you can prove with them. When I talk to
Yes.
suppliers now, I show them snapshots of my orders and my customers to show them that I actually a real business and they can go to my website to check it out.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that information, they'll be like, you're just a random person that wants to waste my time. And it
Yes.
can be difficult.
Wow. Interesting. What are some of the basic knowledge they should know when they are communicating with suppliers?
If you're doing it on 168, you should filter by MOQ. MOQ is for those that don't know, it's minimum order quantity. So for
Yeah.
people that are just starting, they see a product as, oh, it's like 10 RMB. Great, great. I can sell that for like $10 in my country or whatever.
Yeah.
But it has an MOQ like 50, then you're going to run into a problem.
Yeah.
So filter by MOQ because that's usually what the suppliers really care about. And then they also care about your future potential. So when you talk to them, hey, I need a short sample now, but I want to sell however many next month if it goes
Yeah.
well to motivate them.
Oh, interesting. You do you do any service like coaching or teaching people how to learn importation from China?
Depends on the country. Yes, there's a consultation I can do to get you started. Like I
Oh,
mentioned, like I showed you a couple methods with Alipay to get started. When you scale, I can definitely help in that situation where 10,000 RMB may not be enough. I can definitely show you methods to overcome that. Um,
yes.
if you're an actual business, I can streamline your logistics process so that not only will you make more money, you make more profits, but at least you can mainly automate or mostly automate. I don't want to say 100% automate, but mostly automate the business. So yeah.
Wow, interesting. We have Raphael saying hi to us. If you are watching live and we are learning how to import from China without traveling to China or without using any agent. If you have any question, there's a link sent where you can join this live to ask any question, or you can type in the comment section to ask anything about how to import from China. Interesting. You mentioned about the consultation depends on the country. What are those countries you were talking about?
Well, it depends on purchasing power, right? A lot of people want to sell to the US because those customers in the US are willing to pay premium pricing.
Yeah.
What you can sell in the US for $50, you probably won't be able to sell it in Ghana for $50. I don't know. You will know more
Yeah,
than me.
that's true.
I'm guessing.
That's true.
It's
Yeah,
it's a
that's
guess,
true.
right? And
Yeah.
that's just a worldwide thing. Like selling to someone in UK is different than selling to someone in, like, let's say Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
One is quite price sensitive, and one is if you provide the value up front and they feel the value, then they'll buy it.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. So I asked that what countries can you help them in consultation or guide them if they want to? What are those countries?
It would be the U.S., North America, so U.S., Canada,
Okay.
Europe. And why do I say those specific countries? One is the purchasing power, and two is that I have stable logistics channels. My warehouse focuses on those markets, and they have stable shipping routes, whether it's
Yes.
sea, rail, air. I can offer all that. So I have a customer that sells accessories for like tech items. I'm not going to go into detail, but tech
Yeah, yeah,
items. They If they have a rush order, I ship it to them in air, and if they have one that can wait, then I ship it to them in rail. And obviously, the rail order, which is by train, saves them a lot of money, and they get more profits when they sell it in their home country. So I have more
wow.
channels established there. For the African
Yeah,
market, I don't have solid shipping channels there. I usually recommend people to seek a personalized shipping agent, one that specializes in the African
yeah.
market to get better shipping rates than if you were to use like our services. So that's why I mentioned Europe and North America.
Interesting. Yeah. If you want from Ghana, then you should contact me. I am also based specifically in Ghana. When we talk about logistics, there's always challenges with logistics. What are some of the major challenges with logistics and how can they overcome those challenges?
So you should work with a professional freight forwarder or shipping agent. What you don't want to do is you have a product idea
Yeah,
and just ship it to the country. That might end up really bad because the country might have rules. So if you're shipping specific products, you might need permission to import it, especially if you're acting as a business and you're not
yeah,
doing this for personal use, which eventually I'm assuming that your audience wants to eventually make it a business. They want to make
yes,
money, right?
yeah,
So the shipping agent should be able to tell you if you want to ship this product, what do you need to ship it to this country? So if you want to ship a battery, or let's say like an e-bike, e-bikes are
yes,
popular in China. If you want to ship an
yes,
e-bike, you need to have A, B, C, D, E so that it can go through customs in your country. You don't just want to
yeah,
send the product without going through that, because if you find a supplier that can't provide you that because they didn't go to the certification, or they
yeah,
never sold to that market before, your product's going to get stuck at customs and probably seized and destroyed or whatever they do with it. And then you lose your money. So make sure you figure out if the product can even go to your country and how it can go to your country, and find the right supplier. And with that, you should always find a professional shipping agent to help you do that.
wow, interesting. You talked about getting a professional shipping agent, but there's a very big challenge of how to find professional shipping agents to various countries. How can one get access to these professional shipping agents?
The easiest and fastest way, if you know zero Chinese and you just know
Yes,
English, is to go to Alibaba and go to your country freight
yes.
services. Search that on Alibaba, and you'll get a bunch of
Oh,
options. You can filter it by price. It will usually tell you how much they charge per kilogram. But if you're just getting started, Alibaba, your country, so Ghana freight
yeah.
forwarder services or Ghana shipping, and you'll see it on there.
Wow, interesting. I didn't know that personally. I've been in China, but I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, if you
That's
know
so,
Chinese,
yeah.
then go to Baidu and search it in Baidu.
Oh,
Baidu
wow.
is the search engine in China. It's the Google of China. But that's only if you know how to read and write Chinese, or you know how to use tools that can do that for you. But if you're just starting, Alibaba is a good start.
Wow. In fact, that is something useful I've really learned that I never knew. Interesting. So, with the logistics and cost, what advice will you advise people? Like, we have shipping by air, by sea. So, and you mentioned train, which is very new to me, by rail. So, what are the differences?
I don't think it works for Ghana, but the
Yeah,
train
exactly.
customers works for for Europe, because
Yeah,
it goes through the west of China and goes into the Middle East and Europe.
yeah.
Um, Not sure about Ghana.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't. Definitely.
So it's a simple business. If you want to buy in bulk and ship it all
Yeah.
together, you're going to get more profit per product you sell.
Yeah.
But for that model, usually drop shipping doesn't work because it takes time. It takes an average 30 to 60 days from
Yeah.
the product to get from China to your final destination if you use sea or rail. If you're doing the drop shipping method where you
Yeah.
make an order and then it goes directly to the customer, then you need to do air. But it ends up being a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
However, you can ship it within 7 days and the customer get it within 7 days from China.
Yeah.
Usually, if it's like a place like Argentina, very far away from China, it might be longer.
Yeah.
So you got to play that balance. If you're just starting, go with the air first. If you know there's a market, then consider maybe the warehouse can be your house
Yeah.
where you live in your country. Ship it in bulk to your house. And then from your house, when you get orders, just do the last mile shipping to the customer. And you have to
Yeah.
include all this pricing when you sell to the customer. You need to include the
Yeah.
tax pricing. I actually have a profit calculator. I can send you the link later that you can just
Okay.
download. And all you need to do is put the cost of the product, the cost of the shipping, and the profit you want to make, and it will calculate the information for you so that you know how to charge the customer and protect your profit margin.
Wow, interesting. In fact, I signed up for your website, your app. I even downloaded the app yesterday and I was really impressed. I've not signed up with payment method, but I was really, really impressed and I must applaud you for that good work. I saw that you can even share a link of a product to the website and it will translate everything, the details and everything. Wow, that is so great. Tell us more about the app, your website, if somebody wants to use it. What are some of the benefits, advantages they can get from using your app?
Yeah, one moment. I'm going to pull it up so I can
Okay,
I'd rather
sure.
show you guys.
Yeah, I love the
Give it a
way you
second.
share them.
Okay, can you make sure my full screen is being shown? Yeah, good. Okay, so let's say I like this product with it, which is a purse, right? Let's say you're dealing with this, and you can see the pricing and the amounts and everything here. And this is on 168, right? Everything's in Chinese, right? But let's say you just want to buy it directly, but you don't have an Alipay account, you don't have a passport. So you can copy this link and you can paste it here and it will change the price to dollars. So this uses real exchange rate time. And for something that's 14 RMB, it's around $2. Yeah, that's about it. And if you look at the exchange rate, and here, if you can see it has an MOQ of 1, but if you buy 300, then the price lowers. You can see the price lowers here as well, and you can select the color, right, the amounts, just like you can in bulk, and then you can add it to the cart and finish with the order. Something that I added to my website is that, let's say you want to sell this, right? But you need marketing material. So like maybe you need to save this image and you need to market this. But sometimes it has Chinese text all over it. This is a bad example, but sometimes it has like, oh, the big Chinese text. So you can click on the translate to English and it will translate the image in English too. And you can save that image and use it on your website for, future marketing materials if needed. But here there's nothing to be translated, but you get the point. And you can see everything here is in English. It tells you the product specifications, the description. Here you can also translate the images here if you don't understand what it says. But I try to make everything. Yeah, you see here. So Click here, it tells you everything in Chinese. You click here, and it will eventually, it takes a little bit of time because it's using an algorithm. It should change the context to English. Yeah, no burden on the upper body. But you get the points. And this works for any link on 168. So if you find the link on 168 on Taobao, you can just paste the link here, or Pinduoduo. Pinduoduo is also another platform, and it'll work. That's
What?
it. Yeah.
Yeah. What other feature again? Do you have any other feature you'd like to share about your app? And I think after this, I'll share a link where people can download the app and use it.
It's free to use. I mean, the key point is that you can get any product from 1688 and buy it with your Visa or MasterCard. And you can ship it to your Chinese agents. So as I mentioned, my
Yes.
shipping rates are not attractive for Africa. So
Yeah.
if you have a shipping agent in China, I can ship it directly to that shipping agent, and you will get updates on the order and everything. If your business is already established, I have a
Yeah.
special subscription you can sign up for, and that would be for business enterprises, where we can negotiate on the fees and different payment methods to the customer or to the supplier. Sorry.
Wow. That is so interesting. You have shared so many informations which I think will be so useful to so many people, especially beginners who want to import from China. I personally, I have learned so many new things. And in the future, we can't wait to have you talk about more information when people want to scale up and teach people more about importing from China. Before we even leave, I would like to ask you to say your last words about importing from China or made in China products.
Yeah, don't be scared to start. Just do it. Just start with a product and try it out. Go get comfortable with one or two orders and go forward. A lot of people have ideas, and
Yes.
we call it analysis paralysis, and they don't actually take action. Just do it. Like I started with a WhatsApp group to see people wanted a solution like this. Do the same thing, but for your business idea, and try it out.
Wow. Just start. That's so interesting. If anybody wants to reach you, where can they reach you?
Well, you can go to the contact us page on the website, borderless-commerce.net. Just contact us. I have my WhatsApp on there, my WeChat, all of it is on there. The same way you contacted me, you know.
Sure. And I'll be sharing a link of that. In the future, we can't wait to have you. Thank you so much, Mr. Michael, for giving us this opportunity, giving all your time to come and share the basics of importing from China. And we can't wait to have you in the future to talk more about importing from China. And I personally, I can't wait to meet you in person one day in China, in Guangzhou. Thank you. If you have any words before we leave, you're welcome.
Thanks for hosting me. Hope you guys have a good one.
All right. Thank you. And this is where time will permit us to end today's live. Stay tuned for more upcoming videos where we'll be talking about importing from China. See you next time. Bye bye.